Welcome to Eat Your Greens with Dr. Black. I am so glad that you decided to spend a little time with me today. On this podcast, I break down nutrition and healthy lifestyle habits into simple, sustainable steps that fit into real life. I got to thinking and I realized it's been a minute since I did a Fun Facts episode. Now, in case you aren't aware, if you're new to the show, a Fun Facts episode is where I pick a topic and just have fun with it. It's usually a shorter episode. I talk about some history and trivia, and of course, I touch on how whatever the subject is might benefit your health. And I recently discovered something. Did you know that there's a National Broccoli Day? I was not aware of this until just recently. March 22nd, that's today, is National Broccoli Day. So it gave me a great excuse to do a Fun Facts episode about broccoli. Honestly, I can't believe I haven't done one already after 2+ years of doing this podcast. How did I miss broccoli? So this might be my new favorite food holiday. I mean, after Pie Day, of course. I mean, this is a nutrition podcast, but even I agree that most of the time pie beats out broccoli. But I already did that last year. I did the Pie Day episode. So let's do a National Broccoli Day Fun Facts episode. So broccoli, commonly called little trees by my adorable patients. People seem to either love it or hate it. You can probably guess which team I'm on. Now, speaking of people who hate it, why was the customer angry when the waitress at the Chinese restaurant brought his food to the table? He had a beef with broccoli. Haha, sorry. All right, moving on to a little bit of botany and history. Broccoli is a cruciferous vegetable, and that includes things like cabbage, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, kale, and some of the other green leafies. It actually started out as a wild cabbage, and then it was selectively bred into the form that we now know and love, or at least some of us love. The name broccoli comes from the Italian word broccolo, which means flowering crest of a cabbage. And that's appropriate because the florets, the part that most people like to eat, are actually unopened flowers. So when you're eating broccoli, you're actually eating flowers. And by the way, I have another question. Why do broccoli make the best race car drivers? Because they floret. Broccoli was once considered a delicacy in ancient Rome, and it was brought over to this side of the planet, to the Americas, by Italian immigrants in the early 1900s. There are a number of different varieties, and they have names like Green Magic, Marathon, and Fiesta. See, broccoli's a party. It's right there in the name, Fiesta. There's also a purple one called Purple Sprouting, and it's known for having a tender, nutty flavor and purple spears. Now, here's a nutrition pro tip. I've mentioned this before on other episodes. Whenever possible, go with the purple variety of whatever food you're looking at. That would be things like purple cabbage, red onions, purple sweet potatoes, and even things like red or purple grapes. The purple color comes from a really powerful antioxidant compound called anthocyanin. So whenever you can, if it's at the store, choose the purple variety over the regular variety to boost the nutrients. Now, there are some specialty varieties. Like, have you heard of Romanesco broccoli? It is lime green and it has these pointy cone-shaped heads with a fractal pattern. So it's like geometry turned into a vegetable. There's also Chinese broccoli. Now, this looks more like spinach than broccoli, and another name for it is Chinese kale, which I think is probably more appropriate. And then many people have heard of broccolini. Broccolini is a hybrid of regular broccoli and the Chinese broccoli/kale. In the Guinness Book of World Records, the record for the largest broccoli was over 35 pounds. It was grown in Alaska, of all places. And famously, President George W. Bush hated broccoli. In fact, he banned it from being served on Air Force One. And in protest, broccoli farmers from around the country shipped 10 tons of broccoli to the White House. Moving on to nutrition, there is a reason that broccoli is called a superfood, and it is well earned. It's high in vitamin C, vitamin K, folate, potassium, but also calcium, iron, magnesium, copper, zinc, and manganese. It's super low calorie. 1 cup of raw broccoli has around 30 calories and 2.5 grams of protein. Of course, it has almost no fat, and that 1 cup of raw broccoli has more vitamin C than a medium sized orange. It also has about 5 grams of fiber, and you all know how much I like to talk about fiber. It's great for your gut microbiome. Studies have shown that for every 5 additional grams of fiber that you get in your daily diet, you earn about a 10% reduction in the risk of dying from heart disease. Now, the real magic from broccoli, and honestly from the other cruciferous vegetables, comes from a potent anti-inflammatory compound called sulforaphane. Research indicates that sulforaphane may actually inhibit the growth of various cancer types, including breast, prostate, and colon cancers. It also can improve blood vessel function and supports a healthy blood pressure. Sulforaphane is actually created via a chemical reaction that occurs when the broccoli is either chewed or chopped. Now, here's the thing. Heat stops that chemical reaction. So if you're going to cook your broccoli, be sure to prep it in advance. So this is called the chop and stop or the hack and hold method. You cut it up first, set it aside, work on preparing the other ingredients for the dish, and then cook it. If you let it sit for at least 10 minutes, longer is fine, you are going to really boost that sulforaphane content because you've allowed that chemical reaction to continue. Now, broccoli sprouts or microgreens are estimated to contain as much as 100 times the amount of sulforaphane as mature broccoli. So add them on to your salad or your sandwich whenever possible. I like to top my avocado toast with them in the morning, along with some pepitas, the toasted pumpkin seeds. Delicious. How healthy is broccoli? In observational studies, people who eat broccoli, even just once or twice a week, have been shown to have about a 30 to 40% lower risk of dying prematurely from chronic disease. I mean, how incredible is that? 30 to 40% lower risk of death, and you don't even have to eat it every day, just a couple times a week. Let's talk about cooking techniques. When I see patients in the office who are reluctant to try broccoli, or maybe they're telling me they don't like vegetables in general, I will give them a challenge. It's kind of a homework assignment. So I will say, go to the store with the parent and buy a few heads of broccoli. It's pretty cheap, so you can buy a bunch without spending a bunch of money. And then they have the challenge of looking up different ways to prepare it. I usually recommend to at least try it raw, maybe dipped in some hummus or even ranch dressing is fine. I recommend steaming it, roasting it, and then maybe finding one easy recipe that they can put it in. And so then they get to be a little scientist. They're doing a little science experiment, right? I tell them to pretend to put on their little lab coat. They get their clipboard and they start taking notes. They start by looking at the color. What about the smell? Then they can take a bite. How does it taste? What's the texture like? And they take their little notes and compare and see if they can find a way that they like it. And I've had more than a couple self-proclaimed broccoli haters come back and tell me that they found a way that they liked broccoli. Now, for myself, I have two main ways that I like to cook broccoli. My favorite way for flavor is roasting it. First, you just toss it with a little extra virgin olive oil, some salt and pepper. And I like to start by covering the sheet pan with some foil, put it in the oven at 425 degrees, just for about 10 minutes. And that allows it to kind of steam and soften up. Then you uncover it and continue roasting for 5 minutes or so until the tips are golden brown. Just be careful not to burn it. Air fryers can also work well, but I personally find that it's easier to burn it in an air fryer. I've even made it in my toaster oven. So when it's just me and I need a smaller amount, super fast and easy way to roast your broccoli. Now, my actual favorite way to do it is to steam it in the microwave. I'll cut it up, set it aside for 10 minutes, and then I put it in a microwave-safe bowl, add a little water to the bottom of the bowl, a little bit of salt and pepper, maybe some red pepper flakes or lemon juice, and then you just microwave it for a couple of minutes. It's so fast, and it really does come out with a good texture. Like, it doesn't come out too mushy as long as you don't cook it too long, of course. Now, be sure to keep the stems. A lot of people only want to eat the florets, and they'll cut off the stems and discard them. But here's the thing. The stems have, of course, all of the nutrients that the florets have, but they even have a little bit of a sweeter flavor. So don't throw them out. All right, as we bring this episode to an end, I have one more question for you. What do you get when you combine broccoli and melon? Melancholy, the saddest vegetable ever. Well, I hope you've learned something about broccoli. There is a reason why I give my patients a fist bump whenever they tell me they like it. Broccoli is a superstar when it comes to nutrition, and despite what some people say, it's delicious. I hope I've inspired you to celebrate National Broccoli Day. Don't forget to let it sit for a few minutes before cooking to boost that health benefit even more. If you have a favorite broccoli dish, I'd love to hear about it. You can send me an email via the contact page on the eatgreenswithdrblack.com website. And while you're there, take a minute to subscribe to the show newsletter. Even better, share this episode with someone you know who might need to give broccoli a second chance. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to eat your greens. Please be aware that this podcast provides general health information about nutrition and feeding of infants and children and is meant for educational purposes only. It's not intended to replace the important relationship between a parent, child, and pediatrician. If you have concerns about your child's nutrition, health, or growth, please consult your doctor.